Captain, I think I've discovered what's wrong with the Horta. It's searching for water. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, just an update on how I'm getting on with the Man of War monsters that I'm painting for my buddy. So this is a second batch of sea monsters. The first 5 I'd already painted were genuine Man of War models. In this batch only one is, which is this one here. The 3 on this side are all from Dreadfleet, and this one here we have no idea what game it's from, but it looks pretty cool. So my criteria was a nice simple paint job, something that's going to be quick and easy but look pretty effective, and also personally I wanted to have all the different models to be different colours, so I wanted them to all look totally different, not only these 5 but also the 5 that I previously painted. I'll put a picture of those up for you now so you can see them. Okay, so yeah, those are the ones I previously painted, so I tried to get these to look a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is zoom in on each in particular model and just run over exactly how I've painted them, how far I've got. I am painting this with what I call the wash method, primarily using washes and dry brushing. So I had a request basically to explain a little bit more on how I'm doing it, so I'm going to go into slightly more depth for each individual model as we look at them. Okay, let's zoom in and have a look at the first one. Okay, so starting off with this one, and with all of the models, I first of all looked at the model and decided how I wanted to paint it, what sort of colour I wanted to paint it, what did it look like in terms of a sculpt, and how my vision would be for the model. So looking at this one here, first of all, to me it looked like almost like a ghost coming out of the water. So that was my concept for it. So I'd already primed this model grey. So the first thing I did is I gave it a Bautan wash, a green wash all over the model. And then once that had been done, I gave it a little dry brush with some bleach bone all over, and then I just went and I gave it a slightly higher dry brush with some white, but only very lightly. And then once I'd done that, I re-washed it with the green. Now, because obviously it's coming out of the sea, I didn't want it to be just green, so I sort of wanted it to be blue as well, so I wanted to add some blue to it. So whilst the green wash was wet, I went in at the bottom area with a blue wash. I'll just tilt this so you can see it a little bit easier. So I started with the blue wash at the bottom, and whilst that green wash was dry, I dragged the blue wash and almost blended the washes together. I sort of mixed them together so that it gave me this effect of blue to green. I went in to all of the little like dripping areas of down here, and I also put some blue on there and also on the face just to bring some depth to the model as well. So I've got this quite nice ghostly look, and to be fair, that is basically finished. I possibly might go in and do something with the eyes, but I think on the whole I'm pretty happy with how that one's looking. Of course I've got to go in with the light blue colour at the bottom to represent the sea, which is how I painted all the others of course as well. So that's the first one, that's how I did that one. Let's move on to another. Okay, so next we've got this one here. This is the genuine Man of War model. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but obviously it's some sort of WoW. So I started off, I gave the model a base coat, a mixture of royal blue and grey, so it's like a grey blue colour, and then I gave it a wash of blue wash, and then I went in and I did the grey blue colour, dry brush over the top, added a little bit more grey to it and dry brushed that, and then finally added a little bit of white to it and I dry brushed that. So it's just washes and dry brushes. I've got quite a nice effect there. I've still got to paint the eye and the teeth, and he seems to have these sort of barnacle things on him as well, which I probably end up painting green, I would imagine. As for his little horn, I did have a little research on Google, and it seems like the horn is supposed to be red, so I literally just base coated that with Methystone red, and then I gave it a black wash. So I've still got to highlight the horn as well, but that's looking pretty cool. Quite happy with it. Once I've painted the teeth and stuff, I think that will look quite nice. So that is the well all painted up. Let's look at the next one. Okay, so next is this one. It's like 3 sort of skeleton dragons coming out, and one of them's ripped the sail off of a ship. I wasn't quite sure how to paint this. My original idea was maybe a greeny colour, but I already used the green on that other model. So in the end, I decided to go for a purpley pinky colour. So I started off giving it a wash of purple. I then went in and painted the sail with a yellow colour. I washed the sail with sepia, and once that was fully dried, I went back in and dry brushed the sail with the original yellow base coat, and then I dry brushed it with bleached bone. And then for the actual dragons themselves, I decided to go in and dry brush them up from the original purple. So I actually dry brushed them with light purple, so I was actually going with a darker colour, and then I dry brushed them with a pink, like quite a light pink, and then finally I added some white to that mixture and I just dry brushed them over with that. So it's given me some quite nice highlights. Now I've still got some details to go on this little model here. Of course, yes, I've got the water to do. He does have these like dripping bits of water down his body. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually paint that as water or not. I possibly may just go in and just wash them blue, just give them that sort of blue hint. So I'm not 100% sure there, but making good progress, and I think it's quite a nice colour scheme for that particular model. And yeah, I'm happy with that one. So let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so next is this dragon here, and it's almost like a skeleton dragon almost. So it seems like it's quite dead and decayed. So I decided that was the look that I was going to go for. So I started off washing it with an earthshade wash all over the standard primer that I'd already done, the grey primer. Once that had dried, I went in with quite a heavy dry brush of bleached bone just to bring up the highlighted areas, and then I gave it a wash of orange. Funny enough, I gave it an orange wash because I wanted to add some almost like decay look to it. Now whilst the orange wash was wet, I also went in with the earthshade wash as well in certain areas. So I've got some nice patches in between these sort of rib cages and stuff where I've got the earthshade wash, and then some of these outer areas where they've got the orange wash, and they're sort of mixing into each other. And the reason why I did them whilst they were wet is because if I'd just gone in with the orange wash first and then I'd gone in with the earthshade wash, I would have got quite a harsh like difference in colours from one to the other. By putting them on while they were wet, they could sort of intermingle with each other, and I think I've got a very nice sort of almost death look on this beastie. So I'm really happy how he's looking. I think I'm going to finish him up by just giving him a very light dry brush with the bleach bone, in particular on the sort of bony skeleton areas. But on the whole, I think he's looking pretty finished, really. Quite like him, actually. Now he does have all this water going over his body, so it will look like he's sort of half in and half out of the water once I've done all the water on him. So that is that one. And finally we have this monstrosity, which I'm calling my sea horter, which is like a slug thing, but as you saw right at the beginning of the video, there's a picture there of a horter from one of the old episodes of Star Trek. and I've used that for my inspiration to paint this guy. So what I did is I base coat him with Methystone Red first, and then I gave him quite a heavy black wash because that water is quite dark, so I gave it a heavy black wash. I did go in with a piece of tissue and just soak up some of the really pooled areas, but I did leave a few of the pooled areas on there as well. Let me just turn him over while I'm talking. And then once that was fully dry, I went in and I gave it a dry brush of a light orange, like a base coat orange, what's it called, Jokero orange I think it's called, and then I gave it a dry brush of Troll Slayer orange, quite a light dry brush, because I didn't want it to look really brightly orange, but where I put the Jokero orange down first, that dry brush just changed the Jokero orange to a slightly oranger hue, but without being too bright. So I'm really happy with that. I think it worked out really well, and although it's not obviously a direct colour scheme for the halter, that halter certainly inspired me for it. And this guy effectively is finished. I'm not actually going to do anything else with this one. I'm going to leave his mouth how it is, which is basically just the Methystone Red with the black wash. I think it looks pretty cool. Of course, these are sea monsters, and all the others have like a sea area where I'm going to be able to paint the sea. This one doesn't, because obviously it's not actually a sea creature. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, to be honest with you. I'm going to have to think about that. I may end up just leaving it as it is and not trying to make it have a sea base. But I'm not sure. I possibly may just go in and just sort of dry brush this area around the bottom just to try and get it to look quite blue, to match the rest of the models. So we'll see how we get on. I've still got some more work to do with this little set of minis, but I am really happy how they're looking. So yeah, I hope you like them too. Thanks for watching, of course, as always, and probably the next time you see these, they'll be in a showcase video. Right, that's it for me then. Thanks for watching.